everyone. Welcome back to Living Through It, a lifestyle podcast for teens by a teen, hosted by yours truly, Isabella. Today's episode is going to be all about how to cope with emotions as a teenager. Since we're going through puberty and we have a whole bunch of different milestones packed into a very short 4 to 6 years, it's really common to be really emotional and all over the place, so I thought it'd be really helpful to talk about how to deal with emotions. But before we start, I want to tell you guys what's been going on with me. So obviously I'm still watching My Lovely Mobster because it's not done updating, but I think the week that this episode comes out, it'll be like the last episode, so I'm really excited for that. And then the week that this episode comes out as well, I should be done reading The Penderwicks by Jean Birdsall for summer homework. Apparently it's about like girls coming of age, so I'm really excited for that too. And then I'm currently listening to KR&B again. I was like a really committed listener during the school year, but then I kind of stopped during summer, so I wanted that like summer vibe, but I'm okay getting back into it again. And then obviously like the best KR&B in my opinion, like KR&B artists are Cold and Dean and DPR Ian and DPR Live, and they've been like hitting like extra good lately, so I've been listening to them. And then I'm still working on my sleep schedule, but it's getting way better now. Like I'm going to sleep at least by midnight, which I think is pretty good for the summer. And then I'm still working on like keeping my room clean since it's the summer. I don't really feel the need to organize as much because I'm not going out as much, so I need to really work on that. And then obviously my personal essays and college apps since it is college app season. And then for events, by the time this episode comes out, I'll be starting a college boot camp offered by my school, which is really scary but also exciting because we're going to start working on our college apps and like working on Common App and like separate application forums and just like getting our letter of recs and that kind of stuff. So that's exciting, I think. And then I'll be heading down to see my cousin perform Mean Girls. Like I said in the previous episode, she's performing Katie, which is going to be really fun to see. And then I'm also looking forward to finishing my summer homework. I should be done with it by the time this episode comes out, so I can finally be free for the last 2 weeks before I go back to school. And I'm also looking forward to going to the Maria's concert with my friend. We still haven't bought the tickets yet because we're waiting for the prices to go down, but we are planning to go, so it's going to be really fun. And obviously, as you heard, there's a bunch of different things going on with me recently, or like at the moment, and I'm pretty sure the same is going for you guys too. Like I know I'm not the only one that's doing all these things all over the place. And I don't know if you guys are the same like me, but if you're like me, then that means that your emotions are also crazy because there's so many different events and they like trigger different emotional responses like excitement or like being scared or being anxious or being really happy. So let's talk about how to deal with them. First of all, it is super, super important that you guys know that no emotion is inherently good or bad. They're either helpful or unhelpful depending on the situation. This is a direct quote from a TED Talk that I linked in the show notes. But it's just really important to know before we even start talking about how to cope with emotions that whatever you're feeling at the moment isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's either helpful or unhelpful. And it's like, it's okay to feel sad, but sometimes being sad is unhelpful to you at the moment. But sometimes it can be helpful for you because it can help you get over an experience. So keep that in mind when we're talking about how to cope. And then you might also be thinking, but shouldn't I try to like avoid feeling sad and angry and like try to be happy all the time? No, do not try to be happy all the time because it can be really bad for you. Trying to feel happy all the time can lead you to bottling up your emotions, and then that can eventually lead to you exploding. If you like keep your emotions like bottled up inside of you, you're gonna like be okay for a little bit, and yeah, you won't react at the moment, but then the smallest little thing will like trigger everything, and then suddenly you're gonna have like a huge breakdown, and it's just not gonna be good for you or anyone around you. So try not to bottle up your emotions. And then also trying to like be happy all the time can lead you to actually being more unhappy because you'll start to feel guilty or frustrated or disappointed when you're not happy, and then that can like prevent you or be an obstacle for you to be happy. So keeping happiness as like a goal is actually prohibiting you from achieving that goal, if that makes sense. However, that being said, don't let your sad emotions completely take over either. Like, yes, you can be sad and that's perfectly okay, but don't let it like completely like go over you because then it can be really dangerous and it can lead to like more severe like mental illnesses or emotions. And well, I'm not going to talk about it because it can be a sensitive topic. Just know that whatever like emotions you have or whatever conditions you have, it's perfectly okay and it's totally normal to not be what's quote unquote normal because there isn't a set normal. So whatever emotions you have or however you process your experiences, just know that it's perfectly okay. And instead, for everyone, allow yourself to just realize your emotions and accept that you feel the way that you do. And remind yourself that once this emotion passes, things will hopefully get better. Emphasis on hopefully, because sometimes situations are unavoidable and it won't necessarily be the best thing for you, but eventually, hopefully, you will be able to overcome that situation and those feelings, and you'll be in a better state than you were when you were in that situation. So, all that getting that all out of the way, let's talk about some tips to cope and control your emotions. The first being counting to 5. If you're someone who's quick to anger, or like especially like during your teenage years, it can be really easy to just snap. Counting to 5 can be really beneficial for you. It's pretty obvious, but basically, whenever you feel like really angry and you want to do something, or you just like want to lash out, count to 5 before you even like react to a situation, because it can help you like calm down and reorganize your thoughts before you do something that you're going to regret. And then another thing is breathing. Breathing is really important, and there's so many like different good or different benefits from breathing. And there's so many different ways to like force yourself to like calm down yourself when you're breathing, but breathing can actually help you regulate your emotions as well as like your physical body responses. And there's different ways to like calm yourself down with breathing, one being like box breathing. There's videos online like on YouTube, where you just search box breathing, there'll be like 1 minute episode or 1 minute videos of box breathing. So you could definitely do that. But it's basically, if you don't know, it's like you imagine a box in your head, or you're like seeing it on the screen if you're watching the video. It's like you breathe in for 4 seconds, and then you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds, and then you keep going until your breathing is more regular. And then you could also do a headspace, which is very similar, and they pretty much do box breathing methods or like variations of it. And I think there might be a subscription for it, but I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm not sponsored, but there's definitely some free versions online where it just helps you breathe, because it'll have like those little cute little animations of like a ball bouncing up and down, or like the sun like expanding and compressing. So that can also help you with breathing. Another thing to do to cope is to identify what you're feeling and why. This is really important because it can help you gain back control of your actions, because even though you can't control your feelings, you can control how you react to your feelings. So something to do when you're feeling like a really strong emotion is to identify what you're feeling. And there's a technique called the anything but anger technique. I saw this on a TikTok. But basically, it's when you're identifying what you're feeling, you have to identify it and name it without using the word anger or angry. Because anger is usually a cover-up for what you're actually feeling, and it actually can mean that you're trying to avoid a different emotion. So forcing yourself to realize and like come to terms with the fact that you're feeling a specific emotion will help you not get angry. And that's good, because anger can lead to very impulsive actions that we can regret. So when you want to name your emotions, you want to like truly name them for what they are. Don't just say, oh, I'm angry, or oh, I'm sad. You'd be like, no, I'm not feeling angry, I'm feeling left out. I'm not feeling angry, I'm feeling frustrated. Stuff like that. And then also identify why you're feeling not angry, why you're feeling the emotions that you're feeling, because it can help you realize what exactly is going on in your brain and why it's reacting the way that it is. And then from there, you can gain more control of how you're going to react to the situation that's making you feel the way that you feel. And then another thing you can do is relieve stress daily. That way you can just like, it's like a preventable procedure, I guess, where you prevent it happening before it even happens. And so by doing that, like relieving stress daily, you can prevent your stress from bottling up and then taking over you at a sudden moment. And this can be done by many different ways. For one, you can journal. Just journal like 5 minutes to 10 minutes a day, whether it's in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, or like on your phone or your notes app. Just writing down what you're feeling at the moment can help you, process your emotions. And by doing so, you can realize or like come to terms of how you're feeling. And again, like name your emotions and like understand why you're feeling the way that you are feeling. And if you need to like just vent to let something out so you can like get over it, then that's the perfect place to do it, because you're not harming anyone by putting words on a paper. And then another thing you can do is exercise. Again, this can relieve stress. Exercise has so many different benefits, and I probably talk about it in most of my episodes so far. But exercising can help you with your emotions specifically, because it helps you relieve stress, like I just said. But yeah, like if you're feeling really frustrated, instead of letting that frustration out in like hateful words to someone that makes you feel frustrated, you can let that frustration out in like physical movement instead. And it can be beneficial for you because it also has so many different healthy benefits. And then another thing you can do if you don't really feel like exercising, you can just take a walk instead. It's definitely a way more low impact type of movement. And it's really helpful because one, you're probably outside. If not, you're on a treadmill, but I recommend you walking outside instead. So that means that you're seeing all these different things as you're walking by. And then for two, especially, this is really important because some people walk with music and stuff. Try walking without the music so you can just sit with your thoughts and you can process or like think about or think through what you're going through at the moment. And then that can help you come to terms with your emotions again. And then it'll help you be more centered with yourself. And there's obviously more ways to relieve your stress. There's so many like different tips and tricks on social media and just like online, like if you like search it up. So you definitely don't have to limit yourself to these three. But I definitely recommend these three because these are the ones that are most commonly recommended. And then I've talked about this a lot, but I want to say it again. Don't bottle up your emotions. Just allow yourself to express what you're feeling at the moment. If you're feeling frustrated, be frustrated. Like, don't just be like, oh, I'm frustrated, but I'm going to hold back. No, if you're frustrated, let it out. Obviously, don't let it out by like doing something really impulsive, but definitely let yourself feel the frustration and be like, okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now, but I'm not going to do anything that I'm going to regret with this frustration. And some ways you can allow yourself to prevent yourself from bottling up your emotions is by venting. I do this a lot. If I'm really frustrated, I won't hold it back. I'll literally just get with my mom in the car and we'll just like vent for the entire car ride. And like after those vent sessions with my mom, I always feel way better and way more like centered and sure what I feel. And it helps me prevent myself from reacting in a way that I would regret later on. And if you don't have someone that you can vent to, it doesn't have to be your mom, it could be literally anyone, whoever's in your safe space. But if you don't have anyone to vent to, you could just journal and just vent to the paper, like I said previously. And just doing this really helps you let out the feeling at once so you're not still carrying it with you as you keep going. And then eventually it will come back to you because whatever you're feeling or carrying with you will eventually bite you in your butt. So try not to bottle up your emotions because it can be really dangerous for whatever is going to happen in the future. But yeah, so don't bottle up your emotions. And then another thing you can do is put yourself in like an eagle's eye view of your situation. This is really helpful, and I forget to do this a lot, but I need to do it more often. But when you put yourself in an eagle's eye view, you see things for what they really are and like not what your like colored perception of what happened is. And then from there you can see if you're overreacting or not, or if what you're feeling is valid or like whatever, if it's a much smaller thing than you thought it was. And then this can help you like calm down and realize, okay, maybe I'm being a little ridiculous and it's not that big of a deal. And then won't be as frustrated or sad or whatever the emotion is you're feeling as much. And then a similar thing is to put yourself in someone else's shoes, especially if what you're feeling is towards a specific person. Like say, for example, you and a close friend got in a fight over something and you're just feeling really angry not angry. Sorry, I keep on saying that, and I need to work on that anger tip too. But you're just feeling really frustrated at what's happening. Maybe you feel lonely because you want to talk about it, but that person you would talk about it to is a person that you're not so happy with at the moment. So putting yourself in that person's shoes can actually help you realize how they're feeling too, and it can validate their feelings, and then using that empathy for them and how you treated them, because trust me, an argument always goes both ways. But however you treated them and however they treated you can help you really accept what happened. And then you can acknowledge your wrongs and your rights, and then acknowledge their wrongs and their rights, because they're always halfway there. And you are always halfway there in a situation. That's what I feel like. I don't know if that's like a popular opinion or not. But yeah, and then so putting yourself in someone else's shoes can help you realize, okay, what I'm feeling is valid, but what they're feeling is also valid too. It's not just me. The world does not revolve around me. Like, everyone is feeling their emotions, and what I do affects others, just how their actions affect me. And by doing so, you can become more emotionally mature, and you can realize and like to be accountable for what your actions are, and then you can also start to hold other people accountable for their actions. Because if you're holding yourself accountable, then they deserve to be held accountable as well. And then I mentioned this before, but also just like step back, like remove yourself from the situation. Like say for example, like the same situation of you having an argument with your best friend. Just like removing yourself and like taking some time off. Maybe like it's like someone you see at work, like just like taking a day off from work if you can, and or from school, because obviously not everyone has a part-time job, but just like taking some time and to just like recenter yourself and like find yourself away from the situation can help you go back into the situation in a more clear-headed way. And then this can be beneficial because it can help you like see things for what they are and not like just like behind your bias of like your frustration for whatever happened. And then stepping back can also just help you like calm yourself down before you react in a way that you would regret. And then lastly, sometimes you just gotta cry it out. I've definitely had crying sessions throughout the school year and like outside of the school year. And whenever like I cry it out, like yeah, I feel sad about it, but then like by the time I'm done, I always feel like re-energized, even though like I'm like tired because I cried a lot and that takes energy away from your body because you're like physically producing tears. I always feel like mentally clear because it's like, okay, everything's out. Like I felt the emotion, I've let it take over me. And now that I felt the emotion, it's time for me to start moving on or moving forward. And so crying it out can actually allow you to experience your emotions and prevent you from bottling it up. And then from there, you can just reapproach a situation of whatever your emotions are coming from and just like really be more mature about it because the goal is obviously to be a mature person and approach people in the kindest way you possibly can. All right, so that pretty much wraps up today's episode. If you need to cry it out, talk it out, or walk it out after this, please go ahead and do so. This will just be beneficial for you and everyone around you. I hope this episode was helpful for you guys who struggle with strong emotions. And remember that you are definitely not the only one struggling with strong emotions. Everyone is. And even though it may seem that some people are dealing with the emotions better than you are, it's just because that they've probably already learned these techniques and have had better practice at them than you. So just know that you're always improving and try to really work on your emotions. And that being said, today is the last day that I'm recording at the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory for the foreseeable future. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that helped me make this podcast. It truly is a dream come true. I've got nothing but love and support from every single person here, and not once did I walk out of the BHAC without feeling overjoyed by the time of my time here. So thank you for everything. I'm Isabella, and this has been Living Through It. Love ya. Bye.